Hey guys, welcome back to Real Love Scenario.
Real Love Scenario.
Ho, 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 ho.
Boom, boom, ba-ba-da. The boom, boom, ba-ba-da. Boom, boom, ba-da. That's the melody. That's the melody for the theme song.
And everything.
Just somebody get that.
Get on it.
Put that down.
Get it right.
Put a couple lyrics on top of it.
There we go.
Send it back. Okay.
There we go.
Hey guys.
Welcome back. I am happy to be back. Sorry we missed last week, but we're back now.
We're back.
We are back, and I'm happy to be back. Welcome to all of our real lovers.
Yes.
Those who are currently real lovers and those who are going to be after this episode because it's your first time. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, do all the things to be part of the Real Lover gang.
And you will be in really good company because it's amazing here. Like literally, people love us and we love them. It's just a big old love fest. So lock in, stay with us. And please leave us a 5-star review. We'd appreciate it.
There we go. Rhonda, how are you? How is 41 feeling?
41 is feeling good, man. Good. Like 41's feeling just fine. Just fine. Like doesn't feel that different.
Okay.
Nope. I want it to feel very different, but just in ways of like goal crushing and goal crushing in the sense of like mastering certain things for myself, even if it's not associated to like traditional goals. Like I really am trying to be committed to mastering restful sleep.
Oh,
like that is very important to me now. So I've downloaded a sleep schedule.
Okay.
I'm setting up the alerts on my phone. Like this is 41. This is 41. It's not about just trying to become a millionaire. It's also trying to get a proper night's sleep.
Gotcha.
Every single night.
I mean, I guess I know people don't have restless sleep. I just don't struggle with that, so it's hard. When I'm tired, I go to sleep.
Yeah.
And I sleep through the night.
Yeah. Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds amazing. I have it sometimes.
And luckily, I don't even set alarms anymore.
Like your body just wakes up?
The sun.
Nice.
As nature intended. I just leave the window open when the sun rises. But some people get up before the sun. So
there we go. There we go. I was like, that won't work for me. Literally, when I left the house this morning, because of course it's daylight savings here, I'm like, the sun is really not coming up until after 7 o'clock. I'm coming home and it looks like it's 9 p.m. and I'm leaving my house and it looks like it's 9 p.m. I can't. It's not okay. Thank God it's a window in my office though. But anywho, how are you?
I'm doing well. Well. Birthday coming up. And it's just, good. I'm good. I'm in a great position.
Good. Lovely. Good stuff.
Thank you.
We hope you're good at home too.
For sure. I want to give a shout out to Natalie first though.
Okay.
Because I met Natalie in DC and I was at, I think it's called Sport and Social or something like that. It's a new place. Used to be the Smith on 14th Street in DC. Okay. When I was walking through and she was like, "You're Dre." And I was like, "What's your name?" She's like, "Natalie." She was like, "I love the show. You and Rhonda great. I watch it all the time." So shout out to you. Thank you for coming up and loving the show. We appreciate you very much. And like I said, if you ever see us out, say what's up.
Please holler at us. We love that.
We do.
I love that. It never, ever gets old.
Never.
No.
Never. Love it. And I also want to transition to our Real Lover review.
Let's do it.
This is Parker Shanae from YouTube. Hey now, I love your podcast. The topics, discussions, guests, and all. So refreshing. We appreciate you.
Yes,
it don't
Parker.
Gotta be big. It don't gotta be long.
It doesn't.
It's short and sweet.
And I love your name. I have always adored the name Parker.
Parker?
Yes. I love that name. So shout out to you, Parker. It's like, it can be a boy's name. It can be a girl's name. Yep. I love Parker. It's a very, very cute name. It makes me think
of Parker from Full House. Not Full House. My Wife and Kids. The girl. Her name was Parker.
Her name was Parker?
Well, not in the show, but her real name Parker.
Her real name was Parker. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks, Parker. We appreciate you. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend how much you love it so they can tap in as well.
That's a lot of friends you need to tell now.
I know you got them. Thank you. Are we ready to get into our real love life scenario?
Let's get into it.
So if you don't know, Dre is a big fan of Ari Lennox, as am I, but Dre's definitely a bigger fan. She's dope. We love her. She's super talented.
DMV native.
Absolutely. You've seen her perform. I've seen her perform. It is all quite a treat. But she recently made headlines because she made an announcement on her Instagram page and possibly her other social media pages, but on IG. And she, in part, basically says that she's working on a plan to transition off of social media for good. She doesn't think she'll ever be mature or as happy as long as she has it. So she's ditching social media on December 18th. And this was met with, I think, mixed emotions, like people feeling like she's weak for not being able to withstand what comes with being on social media and a celebrity, because I think that's a part of it, a big part of it. And then other people are praising her for her decision to understand that, like, this is not okay for her. It doesn't work for her life. And I just want to talk about that. One is just fans of her, but just two, around like understanding the healthy and unhealthy connections we have or create with our lives on social media. Do you support her decision to step away?
Definitely support her decision.
Yeah.
And I think it's the opposite of weakness, it's strength.
Yeah.
Because to go against the grain to do something that's better for you is not common. It's hard. And it's something that you have to do for you, but it's not an easy thing to do. So I think it takes more strength to do that. It takes more strength to swim against the current than to flow with the current, right? It's the same with people who give up drinking. Like, that's the one thing, if you say you give it
Which
up,
is also Ari.
yeah.
Yes.
People are looking at you like crazy, like, what's wrong with you?
Right.
You okay? I don't trust nobody I can't drink with. Like, it's like all those different things. So I commend her for doing that. And if you've ever been in a situation where you felt overwhelmed, you have to kind of strip everything back, and then you can start to rebuild those things and put those things back in your life in the appropriate place. But you have to strip it all back, like, and get down to the bare bones and like, all right, let me take all this away.
Yeah.
And then I can slowly start to put it back together at the pace that makes sense for me in the appropriate slot of where it needs to be versus where it currently was. So I commend her for doing that, and forget about everybody who talking about her, blaming her, anything like that. And if you ever need somebody to talk to, we here for you, you know?
Absolutely. And I think she also talks about, like, she's going to spend more time on YouTube, which is, to me, you know, it's an entertainment platform. Hey, clearly, if you're watching us, hey. But it's a form of social media because it has the ability for commenting, which can have some of the same effects of social media, like true social media. But she also is creating ways to directly communicate with consumer without having to use social media apps. So I'm with you. I commend her for knowing what she can and can't handle. I do see people have a severe detachment with understanding that celebrities specifically are actual people online. Like, they're just, this is their page just as much as your page. Yes, there are a handful of people who don't manage their own pages, but I think a lot of celebrities actually do manage their own Instagram pages, their own TikTok pages. And so they see everything. And if it is too much because people are so harsh and so insensitive and just, like, again, very disconnected from the idea that, like, this is an actual person. This is somebody's child. This is somebody's mom or brother or friend. And you're just talking to them or about them as if they are made out of steel or something. I mean, I've had my own run-ins with it where it's like, I've literally seen people in my comments talking about me in third person, like, she something. And it's like, I'm she. It's me. It's my page. Like, I'm actually here. This actually me. And I'm actually going to pop off on you if you don't stop. You know what I'm saying? So I commend her. And I think adding the layer of her coming up on her second year of sobriety, which I think that's why she chose that date, if I remember correctly. I really commend her because staying sober is very hard, and it's easy to be triggered and influenced by the smallest of things. You think about how many people you see recording or posting when they're being social. And usually social activities come with alcoholic beverages or people who have pages just dedicated to making drinks. I literally just followed a girl the other day who I'm very much enjoying her page, but that's all she posts. She posts cocktail content. You don't know how these things could be triggering her, and she may feel like it's just all too much. Like, it's too much influence here that could take me off of that. It's too many people on here thinking that they know me and saying really crappy things about me. And also my relationship to it may be addictive. And as a person who is recovering from one addiction can literally just form and morph into other things. So while she's off alcohol, she could realize she's getting addicted to social media. So bravo to Ari. I am here for it. I wish her all the best in this journey. And anybody who doesn't have social media, I don't know if I don't have an unhealthy relationship with it, but I think it's got to be a pretty interesting, cool life to like not know what's happening online or posting photos of yourself all the time. I think that that's probably nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice to experience.
I mean, we have an unhealthy relationship with a lot of things.
Yes.
But because it's become so normalized in our society and in our culture, we don't see it as being unhealthy.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. And I think I may have talked about this on a previous episode, but I was just with one of my friends at dinner and I was telling about this idea I was exploring just of how we have an unhealthy relationship with sex, just as a lot of people do. And it's just when I say unhealthy, and what we mean by unhealthy, or at least what I mean when I say unhealthy, is that it's just over prioritized. It's not prioritized in the right place. And that's what happens with most people who are drug addicts, alcoholics. It's not saying that having a drink is bad. It's just saying the priority that drinking has in your life, it's above where it actually should be.
Right.
So there are a lot of things, whether that's sex, whether that's social media, anything that's taken a higher priority than probably what it should be in your life, you have an unhealthy relationship with it.
Sure. That's it.
And we have a lot of unhealthy relationships, especially, and one thing that I love about what she's doing, because I did this, if you ever go through any type of sobriety and fasting or take away from something, whatever that area is that you're doing it in, you kind of go back to the hard wiring of how you are originally, right? Yeah. And I saw that when I waited for marriage, is that after so long, you kind of go back to the hard wiring of probably what your brain should be like or is like, you know, when you are not overstimulated by all of this stuff. And you start to put it in a different place, and you can then see like, oh, where I had this in my life at one point and where it is now, I probably had that in an unhealthy place where it was prioritized way higher than what it should have been.
For sure.
So that's why I commend her, because it's like you need to, we get groomed, we get trained to believe certain things. And in order to undo that, you have to step away from it fully to try to go back to your original hard wiring.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. We really do have a lot of unhealthy relationships. I would challenge anybody, because I've done this myself. And there are definitely times where we all probably like mindlessly scroll.
Yeah.
Where I've like moved the app out of where it normally is, like Instagram specifically. And then I watch how my hand will just naturally like go there. Like how you think sometimes you drive yourself, like the car drove itself home because it just knows how to go there. It's like that is a problem. That means that you've developed muscle memory to do that. And if you're doing that, that's probably a sign that you have a little unhealthy relationship with it, or when you internalize everything that happens on there, or you can't really function without it. So again, I really commend Ari, and I'm proud of her, more than anything, of her sobriety, definitely. But I think more than anything, this is in support of that. It's in support of keeping her mental really like strong to continue to stay sober.
For sure.
Yeah. So congrats, girl.
Congratulations.
We'll see you where we gonna see you.
Yes, we will.
More specifically on the stage, because I don't care about seeing you on social media, if I could be honest with you. You gonna be in a city near me?
Let me know.
Perfect. All right. Let's get into our real love scenario.
Okay.
You know, my favorite thing about this scenario is like, it didn't even come with the usual like, hey, Rhonda and Dre, love the pot. No, she came in hot. This makes me think that she sat down and started writing it right when she was mad. Right when she was mad. So it says, I'm having a huge trust issue in my relationship. Huge, all caps. I went through my boyfriend's phone and I discovered that he had an OnlyFans for a few years. He has subscribed to some of his local, also in all caps, old crushes. He told me he was just curious. He just wanted to see, and that he never pleasured himself to this. I do not believe that for 1 second. Fast forward, we kind of squashed the convo when I mentioned it. He kind of talked his way out of it. Gaslight Poppy. Also, all caps. Weeks later, I'm having the emotions of a person who has just been cheated on. He emotionally cheated on me in 2020, and I have not gotten over that. We have been together officially 7 years, and I don't want to leave, but I am so confused. Help. All caps. All caps. Thank you so much for writing in.
Thank you.
We really appreciate you. And I do want to just clarify one thing about the OnlyFans. He is not himself on OnlyFans. He is subscribed. He's a user of OnlyFans, therefore subscribed to, what do you call this? Models? Models. We wouldn't just use the term models.
Yeah, that's sure. Yeah.
Models, workers, they could be considered sex workers. Yeah.
Possibly.
Entertainers. Mm-hmm. But he's not one of them. He's actually just a subscriber.
That's a important distinction.
Yes. Because that too could be
two different things.
That too could be a little crazy. You know what I mean? To find out that your man is just up on OnlyFans, what the lady say, spreading it wide and laying it low. You know what I mean? So anywho, let's just jump right on into this, because this is our first time kind of getting someone that caught their person on OnlyFans. And I mean, OnlyFans is like so popular now. I feel like I hear it so much that it feels like it's just the run of the mill type of thing. It's like Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, OnlyFans, YouTube. You know what I mean? Like it just kind of flows with all of the regular things. I know several people who are quite active on OnlyFans and
as viewers, subscribers, or
as viewers. Yeah, I don't know anybody that is. I did know someone, but she's not on it anymore.
Gotcha.
But no, like viewers, subscribers, like just their little subscription. They over there enjoying themselves. So it feels like it's so commonplace now.
Yeah.
But I can very much understand. I can understand where she's coming from. So, but let's just start with, do we think OnlyFans is really like super taboo and like people in relationships should not be subscribed to the entertainers on OnlyFans?
I think that is relationship specific.
Yeah.
I think that there has to be a conversation around it.
Yeah.
But this is tough. Mm-hmm. It's tough, Rhonda. Mm-hmm. It really is. Mm-hmm. And it goes back into something that we have talked about before, to where there are things that are wrong in relationships, and then there are things that are specific to your relationship, right? It reminds me of like at work, right? Mm-hmm. So I sign podcast deals, for those who don't know. But before I send a long form agreement, I send an email with the terms that we really need to figure out, because the rest of the agreement is boilerplate. That stuff typically doesn't change.
Right.
We need to figure out the minutia and the details of this agreement, because what we're entering into based off of our relationship will be different than another deal that I'm doing. These elements of it. Sure. Right. And I feel like that applies in a relationships, is that there are boilerplate things that we all agree in a relationship shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
But how many people are actually negotiating and talking about the things that are particular to them, the exhibit A, B, and C that comes after, that changes depending on what the relationship is.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, yes, in a relationship, you shouldn't cheat. You shouldn't do all that. That's boilerplate, right? But OnlyFans, right? I mean, we may not have talked about that, or what that looks like. Is porn acceptable? Is, that is, Twitter porn acceptable? Because there's a lot of that out there. Like, you have to talk about these things. And the thing that makes it even more challenging versus what I described in the agreement is that there are a lot of things that will come up in a relationship that you can't even account for or even think that would happen.
Right.
Like, OnlyFans is not something that, like, even maybe 6 years ago, it would have been top of mind to even talk about or even discuss, right? And they've been together for 7.
Yeah.
So it's like, now it's like, this is something new in your relationship that, is now a current problem.
Sure.
And to say it's wrong, it's all about your relationship and what you deem is acceptable or isn't acceptable. If we're talking about personally, for me, I would not like that.
Right.
I first,
I wish I could say I was shocked.
I mean, first, there's a lot of free out there.
Sure.
You go on Twitter, I mean, every other post.
I'm telling you, you could type the word in and you can get exactly what you want.
Exactly what you want.
Yes.
So it wouldn't work for me. And then especially coming out your pocket to spend money. Also, people that you may have ties to, could have ties to. I understand the curiosity. Let's say you went to school with somebody, you saw this on OnlyFans, and you're just curious. I get that element of it. But the moment, like, and I'll go to you after this, right? I don't watch porn anymore. But I remember the times doing it. Like, even though I was by myself, the volume would be low, or I might listen with headphones on. You know what I mean? Because it's just like a bit of shame.
This is very taboo. Like, I don't need nobody around me knowing what I'm doing. Ain't nobody around me.
It's like a bit of shame that comes with it. I think naturally for a lot of people, like, and for me, like, if that's free and by myself. The moment you actually put card information where you could digitally tie me specifically to a piece of thing, I'll be like, nah, I can't do that. No.
Too far.
That's another level to me. Like,
it's commitment.
You are digitally tying yourself. The OF is on your bank account coming out every month as a subscription. Like, nah, dog. Like,
we taking it too far.
It's just too far.
We taking it too far. We taking it too far. Listen, when you said this is not even something that you had to consider 6 years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, when I tell you, who Jesus, when I tell you being single, boy, you've got to have an entire checklist prepared. Are you single? Are you single? Are you on social media? Which social media apps are you on? Do you have a YouTube channel? Do you have a podcast? What do y'all talk about on the podcast? Are you subscribed to OnlyFans, Pornhub, or any sites where they have sexual acts or behaviors happening on those things? Are any of the people that you follow on these things local? Anybody that you used to date, you got kids with them? How many kids? 5? How many mamas? 6? It's just so many questions. It's so many things that you really have to try to think about. But like you said, it's just no way you're going to get it all. Like, some things are just going to pop up. When they pop up, and my Lord, you just hope that by the time they come up, y'all are aligned on them. Unfortunately, that's just not always going to be the case. It's not always going to be the case. So you're going to be learning in the moment after 2 years of being together, a month of being together, after you've potentially fallen in love, moved in with each other. Hell, God forbid you done had a baby. And you think something is okay that they absolutely think is not okay. And this is something that is boiling up to potentially be like a deal breaker because of someone's relationship to something that they think is perfectly fine. And you are looking at them like, who are you? Like, I would have never thought that you would have thought that this was okay. Just like you, for me, it would not work in a relationship. And I think it comes down to one really, really specific thing. As much as we live in a world with sexual liberation, sexual freedom, and the ability to be who you are, love who you want to love, be even more sexually provocative in how we look. You know, it's not even that shocking anymore that you look at a red carpet and you can see someone's nipples, or you can see someone's butt, like, or guys wearing a suit jacket but he doesn't have a shirt on under it. You know what I'm saying? Or you can get on social media and easily see someone in gray sweatpants and no drawers. And that is not that jarring as much as it probably once was. One thing that is still very lewd, for lack of a better term, is very front-facing sexual behavior, meaning you are not covered at all. Like, your private parts are fully exposed. They're not like under a sheer shirt or under a sheer dress. Like, they are fully exposed, and or you are performing sexual acts, whether you're performing it on yourself, with a toy, with another person. And so because of that, anything that houses that is going to be considered taboo and like, ooh, should we be looking? Should we not be looking? If it weren't the case, we would still be like Adam and Eve and just fully exposed, and all of us just walking around naked, seeing all of our goods. So I think that is why OnlyFans is so different than or to me, it's more in line with porn sites than social media sites. And I know people just go there to get entertained, like a what we call a dirty mag. Mm-hmm. You just buy the book, you look at it. Oh, this looks nice. Oh, that looks nice. But looking at something that you typically would not see unless you were in a personal relationship with this person, it creates arousal in you. And I don't want my partner to be intentionally digitally connected to something that is consistently arousing him. If it's not me, I don't think that you should have a consistent relationship with it. You can be on the train, you can go to the gym and happen upon arousal. You know what I mean? Like you go out with your boys one night and you see a woman and she's beautiful and you're attracted to her. You will be aroused, but you didn't intend for that to happen. It's just what happened. But going out of your way to seek that type of attention out or that type of entertainment out would be problematic for me, because in many ways I want to be it for you.
Yeah.
You know, especially in the sexual realm. I want to really be it for you.
For sure.
Yeah. So it just, I'm with her. It would have blown my mind.
That's why I think a long time ago in one of our episodes, I described cheating as not just like sleeping with somebody else, but cheating the relationship. Mm-hmm. As although you might not be sleeping with somebody else, you could be cheating your relationship by getting arousal that way. Mm-hmm. You are neglecting your partner and not getting arousal from them. So then, you know, there is a disconnect, a gap, there's issues there.
Sure.
But one thing that you had said I thought was important, and that we discussed, is that you really cannot know everything that will happen.
No.
And that's why I think that people don't really know what to look for when they're dating and what to find, what things to ask and figure out when dating, because the truth is you can't know everything, but what things are important. So what I realized is that there are a few things that are important, and it's less about the individual situation. It's about how people respond to individual situations. And that will let you know how that could apply to future situations. So first, how does somebody respond to criticism, right? How does somebody respond to correction? Like, how does somebody respond to improvement and things they have to get better at? Depending on how they respond to those things, you can try to apply that to future things to know that this may be good. That's why I was comfortable with being with my wife. One thing I tell people about my wife, I'm like, she will do the work to make herself better. I don't care what you say about her, what you may think about her. If you come to her and talk to her, she hears you and she'll put in the work to try to do better. I've seen her go to therapy. I've seen her read books. I've seen her cry trying to figure out, why can't I figure this out? I want to be better. I want to do better. So you know what that tells me is that, like, in the future, no matter what we're really going through, if I express something to her that is bothering me or that I think she can improve on something, that no matter what it is, I feel comfortable that we can overcome it because she has an open line of communication. She's willing to take accountability and she's willing to try to improve herself. So it's like, I think when you're dating, you need to look out for those things versus like checking off situations like, oh, you know, we had a fight and then this happened, or we did that and that happened. It's like those things are helpful, but try to look at those cues of like people taking accountability, making changes, things like that, because I think that will be a better indicator for a lasting relationship.
For sure. And I think it speaks to like going beneath the surface. This is why I really loathe surface level dating experiences. Like, we have to go beyond the easy things to talk about. Like, we really do have to talk about like how we think, how we grow, how we learn, how we hurt, how we happy. Like, and that just those few that I named have so many branches on them. You know what I mean? Like, how we happy could be as simple as the food that makes me really happy when I get to buy it or eat it or make it, to the successes that I may have in my career or accomplishments that I have in my life, to the family and friends that support my happiness, right? So all of that, that's just one category of the branches of talking through emotional development and who you are as a human being, outside of, again, that easy stuff of what was on the shade room today. what show is out? Did you check out that new movie? Oh, these pants are cool. Where you like to shop? Like, not saying that this stuff isn't cool to talk about, but is that really going to help us build a strong relationship and navigate when we get to different places in the dynamic? I'm not going to care about those pants, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to think about, you know what? He's having a bad day today. And I know his branches of happy. I know what they look like. So whether it's as simple as getting his favorite food or being like, hey, his homeboy, he hasn't seen you in a while. Like, y'all should link. You know, he's been in a rough spot. That is the type of stuff that you really need to try to figure out and understand about your partner, so that when you do run into these tough situations, such as, surprise, I'm an OnlyFans subscriber, you know, if you have a Brie in your life that is going to hear you out and hear you saying, hey, love, you right. I don't want to make you feel bad. I don't. You know, even though I don't have a problem with my relationship with this particular app, I don't ever want to make you feel bad. Like, I don't want anything that I can easily eliminate making you feel bad. Like, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. I don't want to spend the rest of my life with this app. This app may not even be around in 10, 20 years. You know what I mean? So that to me is like the importance. And I really want people to just place more emphasis on getting to the meat of that. And there's so many resources. There's so many tools out here. If you can't formulate the questions on your own, if you can't come up with what those look like or how to ask them, you can literally Google 20 questions or questions to ask a man I'm dating, or 20 questions to ask a woman I'm dating. There are no shortage of things. I have read some of these lists, used some of these lists. I have card decks. I use all the things because I'm like, I would have never thought of this question on my own, or I would have thought of it, but not like this. And the way that this person wrote it makes it so like intriguing. It probably makes the person want to answer the question, right? So it's super important that we get to the meat and bones of the things and not just live on the low surface of stuff.
For sure.
You know, we reached out to her to get some additional detail. And one of her biggest gripes was that he didn't tell her. You know, it isn't so much that he has it. That's also a problem. But one of her biggest things is like, you didn't even mention it to me. You didn't even say like, hey, I want to get on something like this. What do you think about it? Or would you think it was cool? And we've talked about on many episodes, is omission lying, or is omission ever okay? Do you think that's a double whammy, that not only was he on it, but that he didn't even consider asking her when he was interested in getting on it?
Why would he tell you he's on it? I just told you that a lot of people listen to it with the volume down, even when they by themselves. I mean, the truth is that we all have guilty pleasures, right? That things that we find pleasurable that we're scared to admit or scared to talk about.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't admit things just for the optics. They might not think it's wrong. They may not think it's anything, but sharing it just seems like it's bigger than what it is. So they're even fearful of sharing it. So I don't see why he would share it. That's not something that, I mean, even if you were somebody who were doing it for free and like, you wouldn't be like, hey babe, I watched a nice porno today. Like, you just probably would do it in your spare time and then wouldn't say anything and just kind of go about your business, right? So it's like certain things like that people don't admit. Is that wrong? I mean, I guess you could say that, but I feel like we all do it. We all have our things that we may do that we may not share with our partner, that may not be the best thing to do, but it's not anything that's necessarily wrong, but it's like not something that we just want to discuss either. So it's just like, I mean, it could be anything from something like that to spending money on something stupid that, or, you know, doing something that you did, then you're just like, you know,
I'm gonna leave that out.
I'm just gonna leave that out. It's not that big of a deal, because in your mind it's not that big of a deal, right? It's like, it's not that big of a deal. So to say, I mean, we just aren't always forthcoming with every single thing that we're going through. So it's just hard to say like, yeah, he should have told you, because in a situation like that, I would think most people wouldn't. Yeah,
that he would actually hide it. It does make sense to me that he hid it. I feel like certainly he was wrong for that. And I think when you add the color of, like she said, he emotionally cheated in 2020. And so again, if you're not new here, you've probably heard this before, but when you go through a situation where cheating happens in a relationship and then you decide to stay together, your privileges in many ways get revoked. And there are now hypersensitivities around behaviors that even hint at you still doing those types of things. So as a person who already emotionally cheated, which usually most people consider emotional cheating like you having a digital relationship with someone, texting, emailing, you never maybe even see them, or you see them, maybe you see them at work, but you never go the full length of it. So if you had that type of dynamic years ago, not sure what went on in your mind that was like, you know what? The best thing for this situation right now is OnlyFans, and I'm gonna hide it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
well, you know, something I think about though is that like a lot of times when we think about somebody getting right or getting healthy, we think of positive remedies, right? But I think there are a lot of people, I know there are a lot of people, especially men, who self-medicate. And they use different things to cope. So instead of going through official channels to deal with the issue, they try to find their own remedies to deal with it. So OnlyFans might be a way of coping with another desire or urge. You know what I mean? So it's like, instead of actually going and cheating, I'm self medicating, or, you know, finding my own remedies to it. But a lot of times when people do that, they do that journey on their own, right? They don't, because they're not asking for help in general. They're just like, I'm gonna figure this out. Hey, stop smoking. I don't need to. I'll figure this out. You need to go to therapy. No. I'll figure this out. And they find their own ways that they think are going to help them or think be better for them. But they typically do it in private, because if they were open with wanting to solve the problem or get it resolved, then they probably wouldn't be doing that thing. So I think it could be part of that too, is that like, I'm finding my own way to cope with some of the emotions and feelings that I'm having. In his mind, he might feel this is the better scenario than actually doing it, right? That's one thing. Another thing too that made me think too is like, where I think sometimes some men in this situation, their heart wiring kind of goes a little crazy. Like, it's like short
like
circuit.
Glitching.
It's like glitching. Is that most men, even the most alpha, I don't know what they call them, Samuelites, all them dudes, like
the red pill gang.
The red pill gang.
Yes.
We know that they believe that a man should be a leader, right? And even with all the other things that they believe, one of the things that they probably still do believe is that a man should protect his wife and provide security with the woman that he's with, right? Because that's alpha behavior.
Yeah.
So what happens when those two things are put head to head against each other? What if you are doing a certain behavior and you're the leader and you're the man, so whatever you says goes, but the woman that you're with says an action you are taking is not making her feel secure? So now you're put against, you have to make her feel secure, but you're also the leader and everything you should say should go. So who wins in that situation? Because a lot of times when people think providing security, they think from outside forces.
Yes.
But what if you're doing something that's
it.
making her not feel secure? Then what do you do? Because then do you be like, well, I'm the man, whatever I say go? Or do you protect the woman that you're with by cutting out the thing that's making her feel insecure?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's it. The brain starts.
You just like, oh my gosh, it's me. Oh no.
I don't know what to do. So I think that's like this situation here is like, yeah, I'm the man, you know, I'm good. I ain't sleeping with nobody, but she's telling you that something you're doing is not making her feel very secure. And that's for good reason. Yeah. So now you have to decide what's most important to you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Protecting her and making her feel secure in the relationship, or you doing whatever you want to do.
You want to do. And I mean, that goes back to that wonderful episode about leading versus controlling, where once you really understand what that means, true leaders know that leadership is in servitude. It is in doing for others. It is not by telling others what to do. People follow you by the way that you lead, not because you tell them to, not because you point them and force them to, right? So I do think it's just an unfortunate combination of things here, where if you want to get out of the cycle or call it a cycle of cheating or wanting others, certainly looking at a bunch of other people isn't going to help you do that. Especially you're paying to see, and please with the people that's like, people be on OnlyFans showing their feet. Right. I know. Y'all know that's not most of them, okay? Like, stop. Even if they are showing their feet tend to be doing things that, other than walking, other than like,
because you wouldn't need OnlyFans for that.
You just really wouldn't need that. So yeah, it's like it wouldn't make sense for you to be paying to have a digital relationship with someone that is performing lewd acts. And I think, people don't realize that when you become like a big subscriber, like there's some of OnlyFans, it's like tiers and subscription levels. You can actually pay for interaction. You can pay to have like direct communication with the people that you are looking at. You don't know if what you're starting out looking at is the dirty mag experience, but next thing you know, you're basically cheating. You are in fact paying, which is, my Lord, even worse, that you're paying for someone to be like, hey, handsome, or hey, beautiful, damn, you look good, da 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 da. And you're like getting really caught up in this, or you are even taking what you're experiencing in that situation and thinking about it when you're interacting with your partner, or using it, like Dre said, to cope, to like, I really want to cheat, but instead of cheating, I'm going to just have these visual experiences, and I didn't touch anybody, but it'll at least help me deal with my partner. None of these things actually bring proper resolve to the issue or the desire to want to actually cheat and step out.
That's why you shouldn't self-diagnose. Typically, when you self-diagnose, because you are not an expert at it, you are not good at it.
No.
You don't choose the right thing, the right quantity, the right object.
The right nothing.
Nothing. It's like you could pay for interaction because you feel like your person ain't giving you enough attention. That ain't the right solution to your problem. Like, that's not how you should deal with that. So do not self-diagnose, because you're not an expert. You didn't go to school for it. You haven't researched it. Go seek help.
Absolutely. And listen, there's some people that I know that are like, I really have a problem. Like, as in, like, I don't think I could ever not cheat.
I know people like that.
Yeah, it's like, so either don't get in relationships, so you don't have to worry about that. Or if you really do want to commit to a monogamous relationship, you have to get help to understand why that is, because there is a reason.
But that's the thing, is that like, that's why I go back to that unhealthy relationship with sex, and also the brainwashing, so you say, of our society and our culture. Like, you truly believe that it's not something that's natural and that you can't do it, or but you've never deprived yourself of it to know what it truly would look like if you went back to your hard wiring, and you would realize, oh, I've been so overstimulated by this stuff that my true feeling and thought of it is not actually how I was hardwired to actually look at this or think about it.
Yeah, man, it's a lot. And I know, sis, like, you wrote in a lot of information, just giving us so much history dating back many, many years. But no matter what the situation was, whether it was not creating this safe and secure place to get over the emotional cheating, or it is how he handles when she brings things to him, like, he's a great man, he's a good guy, stand-up guy, is there for her child. She came into the relationship with a child, and he sees that kid as his own. A lot of things can be true at once. Just because someone is a stand-up person and they work hard, or they're a great father figure, it does not mean that they are a good communicator or capable of being faithful, right? You can be a cheating, hard-working, good dad. You can literally be that. You can be a lying, hard-working, committed father. You know what I mean? Like, you really, really can be all of those things all at one time. And I think, 7 years is a lot of time. And listen, we will stay stuck in something because of the kids and because of time served. Those things will lock us in and anchor us in. But you really have to think about, like, what does tomorrow look like? Like, what does 7 years from now? Could I really, if nothing changed, could this relationship sustain? Do I really truly want to be with this person the exact way that they are right now? Not, do I want this person to be a father to my child 7 years from now? Because that's probably an easy answer. You know that you would love that, right? But again, some men are really great fathers, and I saw something recently that said you cannot be a great dad if you are not good to the mother, and not even meaning like
being together.
You just like don't treat her well. And I don't fully disagree with that. I really, really don't. But even think about your kid. What example are they seeing of how to receive information? If you're coming to dad or stepdad and like, I want to have a conversation with you about something, and stepdad blows up and he gets chaotic in the house, or he needs to storm out or take a walk every single time, what type of behavior is that modeling for your kid? It's that's not how life works. Just because you don't like something that someone's saying to you, but it's not derogatory or disrespectful, you can't temper tantrum.
Yeah.
Right? You're not a kid anymore. That's literally something we teach children. Get off the floor. Stop crying. Stop, not necessarily stop crying, but stop screaming. Yeah. Stop tantruming. You can't let a person like that exist and there's no correction happening. Like they're not even wanting to do it for themselves, or they're doing it only when you suggest that they do it. They don't sit back and reflect and say like, damn, I shouldn't have did that, or I should be better, I should communicate better, or even opening your mind. Like, listen, it took me years to learn that when you are frustrated, you don't yell. You know what I mean? Like, it took me a long time to understand how to communicate frustration without yelling. Am I perfect at it? No, I'm not. But am I light years better than I was at 24 and 25? For sure. I thought that was normal. And you know, part of the reason why I thought that was normal, because that's what I saw. When my mom and her ex-husband bumped heads, that's what they did. They yelled at each other. It wasn't just like we're in here having an adult difficult conversation. No, it was like, you. So as soon as I got with a man, that's exactly what I emulated until I learned that that's actually not appropriate. And so it is really taking all that you sent to us and looking at it and saying, is this what I really want for myself? And is he capable of being a different version of himself in order for me to want this forever? And that's really for you to know. But to me, it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things. I don't think you're wrong for not wanting your man to be intentionally aroused by other people, especially when he already had an emotional affair, by way of your admission that you weren't as attentive to him as you should have been. But again, a disciplined man, a man who honors himself separate from honoring the commitment he made to you, wouldn't cheat just because you aren't paying him attention. He would say, hey, I need attention. I miss you. I want you to touch me. I want you to pay attention to me. I do not want to step out on this relationship at all because I love myself too much to do that. But it's important to me, if me and you gonna be together, baby girl, I'm gonna need you to ask me about me. I'm gonna need you to be here for me. I'm gonna need you to show me some love and attention because I need that. If he can't use his words to do that and would rather use his body to harm himself and subsequently harm you, that's a problem. That's a big problem.
Oh man. I guess my final thought on this is like, we've talked about on this show a lot about what good communication is, and I've talked about it a lot. It's one of my staples. If you know anything about me, it's about it being effective. That's and effectiveness is the person receiving what you have to say. And how you go about delivering your message is so important. For instance, if you go up to a gun owner's house and kick in the front door, you know what you're going to be met with?
Pow, pow.
Bullets. But that same person, if you knock on the door or ring the doorbell, may give you a completely different response. And a lot of times what we're doing in relationships is that we're going in, kicking in the door, and we're thinking that the bullets are the natural response that they want to give us based off of what we're doing. But we didn't even come in a way of peace. We came in a way of disruption, so we're getting disruption back. So if you want to get the real reaction for what the person is saying, you need to approach them in a way that is not combative to where they go into a defensive mindset or a defensive action. So I say that all to say is not to necessarily say that you're wrong or anything like that, but going back to the thing that I had said in the beginning, is that there's a boilerplate agreement and there are the things that are specific to us. But there's also another part of agreement, and Rhonda knows this because we did it a lot of times in property management, things called amendments, things that were not in the original agreement that we need to add to the agreement. So although, yes, it feels like it's cheating, this action may not have been specifically addressed. So the way I would probably go about it now with the knowledge and wisdom that I had, if it was going with my wife, I would first take time and take a breath. I know that I'm feeling emotional right now, but I need to figure out my feelings, right? Take the time to figure out my feelings. And then I also need to figure out how I'm going to communicate how I feel to my person. That's going to take some time because I need to work through it. I may need to get some feedback from people I trust, like in order to really get it to where it needs to go. And probably how I would have handled it with the knowledge and knowing my person now, as I would say, so first, I'm gonna let you know that I did look at your phone. May not have been the right I acknowledge that, I may have been snooping given our past situation, and it probably wasn't right, but I did see that you have an OnlyFans account. Now, this is something that we have not discussed before. We haven't talked about. You may not feel it's wrong, and I understand that because it's something we haven't discussed before. But seeing it, especially given our past relationships, really makes me feel uncomfortable. Yeah. And I would prefer if you did not keep up this subscription. Like, that is addressing all of it, because you have to acknowledge that it's not, that there may be relationships to where that isn't necessarily wrong. And it's something that y'all haven't discussed. And if you want the real response from him versus the gun blazing, I suggest more of that way, because if you come guns hot, he gonna come back at you guns hot. And you don't even know if that's really how he feel about it. He just reacting off of how you came at him. So he could be standing his ground just off of being defensive off of how the energy you gave him. And I understand the emotion that you feel at that time, and you may be right, but it's about being effective. And if you've been with this man for 7 years, you feel like he's great and you want it to last, you need to approach it in a way that's going to be constructive for the future and get the real answer from him. Because even after you say it the way I said it, he might still say, I don't feel like it's that big of a deal. Like, I feel like I should still keep it. It's not like I'm doing anything. But at least you approached it in a way that's not combative or put him in a defensive measure. Now this is really how this person feels, and he's choosing that over you. Yeah. Now you have a clear answer. But sometimes we don't get clear answers when we're going in guns blazing. Like, sometimes we feel like we are, but it's emotions coming on both sides, and that person, I could tell you, may not even feel the way that they're feeling. They're just reacting to you and going the opposite way just because you're coming at them in a certain type of way. Now, I know that might be not a thing that people may not agree with or like to hear, but I'm just saying, from being in a committed relationship with somebody for such a long time and trying to communicate messages, you have to figure out how to be effective. And you start to figure out that if you approach a certain way, whether wrong or right, you're going to get a certain type of reaction. True. And it may not be their real reaction. Like, that's the reality.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And if you are approaching it right, but you're still getting that hot, that heavy defensiveness and all, again, you're getting your answers. Exactly. You're getting your answers that no matter what my approach is, you're not committed to hearing me. And no one wants to be in close relationship with anyone that does not value what they have to say, especially when they're talking about how what they do make you feel, how what they're doing makes you feel. No one wants to just be met with, what you talking about? That's stupid. Why you no, it's like, so nothing that I say or think about what you do should ever be communicated like that. That's not real. That's not how real relationships work. And again, romantic or otherwise. Imagine if you went to your boss at work and was like, I really just think that we should maybe try this different strategy or this different approach. And I've done some research, or I've looked at this, and I feel like we could improve, blah, blah, blah. And your boss was like, shut up. What are you talking about? Why are you coming here with ideas and strategies? You would be like, what in the world is going on? It would make you feel like they don't care, that they don't value your thoughts and opinions. It doesn't matter the type of relationship. That's just not fun. And effective communication is extremely important for you to get clarity. And if you running into this, it's ineffective either in how you communicate or how they receive your communication. Either way, you have a problem. Nothing can happen in a relationship if communication does not flow consistently well. Not constantly well, but consistently well. Because sometimes you're going to hit some friction and you just got to figure out how to work through and get around that. But consistently, overall, more often than not, communication flows well. If more often than not, it does not, you could have a beautiful house and great sex and you look nice together in pictures and you balance your finances very well. But that piece is always going to tear up a relationship if you cannot figure out how to communicate with each other verbally and otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, you said it perfectly. I just go back to my agreement thing. It's like everything isn't the boilerplate thing. Yeah. And that person has to realize that too, because like I said, them being like, I ain't doing nothing wrong. It's like, listen, baby.
It's the little clap.
we talking about you and me.
We talking about you and me.
We ain't talking about what other people think is wrong.
I don't care what Jerome and them told you.
I feel.
Yeah.
How I feel. Mm-hmm. Listen, it's different thing. You think you got the same interest rate on your car as the person up the street? No, because y'all have different situations, different credit, different income. Mm-hmm. Every agreement is different. Like, and if you want to be with me, I'm telling you this how I feel. And like Rhonda said, how they respond gives you the answer that you need. It tells you a lot about somebody's character, what hill they're willing to die on.
Well, we gonna wrap that right on up. Wrap that up.
It's like, oh, so this is the...
this is where you draw the line.
Okay.
Got it.
Wow.
Word.
Cool.
Bad.
Because the thing is that, and we do this so much, and it's like, relationships are such a cyclical thing. Like, the moment you think you're doing something for them, you're going to be asking them to do the same thing for you. Like, you're asking him to give up something to make you feel comfortable. I guarantee he's going to be asking the same thing of you. Mm-hmm. So if we can't make these compromises now over something as minuscule and as insignificant as OnlyFans.
Like OnlyFans,
y'all. Because there's going to be some real things that I might
ask you to give up. Like what if I ask you to give up one of your friends?
Yeah, your friend. Or the way your mom treated me. We might have to, like, you know, these are real things.
Yes.
And they may be hills worth dying on depending the situation. And I could get that if depending on what it is.
Yep.
But OnlyFans is a hill you want to die on, bro? Like, that's the hill you want to...
I sure hope Big Booty 00735 got space for you at her house. I sure do. I sure do.
And you have to take the indicators of not just the moment, but what that means for the future, because it's a lose-lose either way, right? Mm-hmm. If you look at the situation and they're willing to die on that hill, that lets you know everything about their character, who they are. Mm-hmm. But then it also, if you choose to move forward, now you're setting a line that this now becomes okay.
Yeah.
Like, I told you I'm not doing it. You look past everything, like you said, good father, good all this stuff, and you figured that it's worth looking past.
Yeah.
Now you have established something as a okay behavior in your relationship that you are actually not okay with, is that as long as these boxes are being checked, all this other stuff is okay to do. Mm-hmm. So it's a lose-lose.
Yeah.
So although it may suck to lose somebody, who's in that position and who's taking care of a lot of other things, you have to understand what the implications are if you ignore certain things or move past certain things. So I just say try to have a effective, productive conversation. Mm-hmm. If the person is about you and providing security like they say they are, it wouldn't even be a thing. Initially, somebody might have pushback, but if they get time to think about it, and not feel like they're being told what to do, but they're releasing it themselves, because some men are like that. It's like, I don't want to be told what to do, but I come to my own conclusion that I'll end up doing this. Mm-hmm. Then, you know, it may work out. But if that person want to hold on to that and die on that hill, leave them on that hill.
Bye. Well, Honey Bun, we hope we were able to help you. We really, really, really do. I suspect that we will get an update from you. So please, please, please keep us posted. If you have a real life scenario and you want to get our advice, get our thoughts, our lived experience to help you through your situation, you write to us at relationshiprestore.com. Click that contact button and also follow us on social media. We're everywhere. Not Ari Lennox for long, but we'll still be there. I'm at Ronnie Cakes.
As Dre Smith.
And at Relationship Restore. We'll see you soon.
Peace.